Everyone, today I'm going to tell you about one of the renowned psychiatrists, Viktor Frank. He was psychiatrist, psychologist, and how he developed the therapy to overcome someone's suffering and find the meaning of his life. So, Viktor Frank was a Jew and was back in the World War II days, and he was renowned Austrian psychiatrist and was practicing over there. But because in the World War II, he was imprisoned by Nazi captors along with his family members, and his father, his mother, his wife, they all died in those concentration camp in front of his eyes. So he was going very through a very hard and worst patch of life around this Nazi concentration camp, very dark days, and surviving over there is no joke. He was lying naked and in the dark, cold rooms, and was wondering what is there in the life and how he is going to survive these things when he has no family left behind. And to have that sheer will to survive in this degrading situation which any human has possibly experienced is and coming out of it is a very difficult task or a challenge for anyone. So he started experimenting through his own self or finding a meaning in his life, because he has none left when he came there, and after his family's death and everything, he has none of the meaning left, and he had to start from ground root level to finding the purpose of his life and finding the meaning of life. So what he used to do, even when he in those gas chambers or in those situations, what he used to do, he used to imagine himself giving a lecture towards students in the hall about his theories in psychiatry or in psychology, what he think can help benefit so many patients or so many people in these suffering days and everything. So he used to imagine himself, which provides him enough strength and energy to overcome this degrading situation he was in. And through this thing, he he do not want to give power in the hands of his captors, and he want to have the power in himself, the power in himself, that even if whatever the stimulus he has been given, what he wants to have a power that in what way he is going to respond. So that is for him is the meaning of life, and that he evolved through that, and he later on defined his meaning of life to form a manuscript and publish a book, which he later published. The name of the book was Man's Search for Meaning, which was published in 1946, and which has sold millions of copies, and one of the best psychology book in the 20th century. In his book, he has coined his experiment or social experiment which he has went through, and which he has which he was teaching to his inmates, prison inmates, or the guards, in which he was able to reduce the sufferings of them as well as him, which he called the therapy, which is logotherapy. It is also known as third school therapy, which because it was discovered at third time. So so that is the meaning of will, how a person's will is going to help him survive and finding the purpose of life, and find the meaning of the life. So it is based on three things. First is that if a person has an unfinished task or a work, then he is more likely to survive in this worst situation. What do he mean by that is that if someone has something to do beyond this situation which is going through, which is really hard, and he has something which he has to finish, like this Victor has to finish his manuscript and publish a book, which was an unfinished task for him, and that task he has to finish it has given him the motivation to survive, or sheer will to survive. The second thing is that through the love and relationship, a person develops a strong will to survive. That if you have someone you have lost when you are in these days and you want to get back together, or have, want to find new love or find relationships, then it can also serve as a strong will to survive, which will help someone to go through suffering without any much damage, and will help them to survive through this suffering. And the third thing is the sheer will and the strength of sheer will for the freedom, that they know that they have this in themselves, that they crave the freedom, they want the freedom, and they know what the freedom is, and that sheer will to achieve that freedom is going to help them survive in these worst situations. So this logotherapy is based on three things, and that is the therapy this Viktor Frank has shown to the world through his book. Now through he also quotes the sentence that which I really like, that if a person can change the situation, if the person can change the situation, the task is to change the situation or circumstances. But if the circumstances cannot be changed, if the circumstances cannot be changed, the task is to grow through them. So that's what this Viktor Frank has done. Even his family members had died, and he was in very hard, which he was in very hard degrading life, you can see, lying on that cold dark room naked and all, which any human can, which is the worst thing any human can experience or anyone can experience. He has been through those things, and that will to survive is something he has, which has made him a survivor of these Nazi captors. And he want to spread this surviving, how he survived to others, his inmates, and he helped so many Nazi guards through this therapy and his psychology, that which later on which later on was described in his book, that is Meaning for Life, Search for Meaning for Life. So what I want to tell you is that there is this gap between stimulus and response. So stimulus is something which we cannot control, but response is something which we can control. We should not give so much power to the someone external which is giving us bad stimulus. We should not give so much power to the stimulus or someone who is giving this bad stimulus, that our response is in their direction. Rather, we should have the response, we should hold the power, that our response is our job or our responsibility, and I will decide how I am going to respond to any situation. So that is what this Viktor Frank I want to tell you about.